Hello everybody and welcome to another One Stop Wrestling podcast. I'm Alex, and with speculation of a Hall of Fame induction this year, today we're going to look back at the top 5 moments in the career of the late great Bray Wyatt. Wyatt was a larger-than-life, unique character, someone who connected with fans through the dedication to his craft. The man with the real name Wyndham Rotunda gave his all to the Bray Wyatt character, as well as the one and only Fiend gimmick, which he portrayed in the final years of his career. He lived and breathed the Fiend, as well as the Eater of Worlds, and it got him over massively with the fans as he became more popular year after year. He had some great moments throughout his career, moments that truly resonated with fans and made them drop their jaw and stand to attention at what they were seeing. We can only imagine just what Bray would have gone on to do had he not been taken so soon. But even so, the third generation star had a great career spanning over 10 years and left a lasting legacy. So, without further ado, here are our top 5 moments from the career of Bray Wyatt. Number 5. The Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena at WrestleMania 36. If you ever needed an insight into the creative mind of Bray Wyatt, then this match was it. Taking place at WrestleMania 36, which is now known as COVID Mania, with no fans in attendance, Wyatt and Cena improvised and created this cinematic experience of a match, which admittedly wasn't to everybody's taste, but you cannot deny the levels of creativity, ingenuity, and sheer thought that went into this match. The match would be a tour inside another reality of WWE, where Wyatt would torment Cena, and Cena would battle through the main elements of his career, including his rapping days, his big feuds, and even the fact he never turned heel. Cena even dressed up as Hulk Hogan, with the comparisons between Cena and Hogan being obvious. It wasn't a wrestling match, more of a mini-movie, and some hated it, which Cena and Wyatt actually said could happen before. But this was a great insight into the creative genius of the two men, and something that made Wyatt who he was. Number 4. The Wyatt family and the Shield come face to face. Pure electricity captured in an incredibly simple way. The Wyatts and the Shield had only been on the main roster for half a year and just over a year, respectively, and in that time they had got themselves over with the crowd in a big way. The Wyatts were a fascinating cult-like faction that were dark, mysterious, and in a kayfabe way, genuinely terrifying sometimes. And it was their gimmick that was genuinely interesting and something that had not been done that well for a long time. The Shield were the Hounds of Justice, a pack of dogs who took no prisoners, and the thought of the two factions facing off was incredibly appealing. When it finally happened on an episode of Raw in February 2014, the crowd became unglued, and it was a telling reaction, as both factions were actually heels, yet they were so over for their incredible work that it drew "This is awesome" and "Yes" chants just for the stare down alone. Fresh, young and exciting talent coming together for an epic stare down left fans salivating for the eventual match, and the eventual meeting in the ring delivered. The stare down before any physicality was once again phenomenal, and the match itself at the Elimination Chamber was an absolute banger in its own right, being arguably one of the best matches in WWE in 2014. The first time they faced off really was a true goosebump-inducing moment. Number 3. The debut of The Fiend. Wyatt had been portraying his cult leader character for about 6 years, and it was time for him to move on to something else. Enter the truly unique and awe-inspiring Fiend. He debuted the character in July 2019 and made an instant impression. He showed up and got a big response from the crowd as he attacked Finn Balor, but it was his look that was the most noteworthy thing, as he donned an insanely creepy mask. The mask, however, was one that didn't descend into comedy too much, rather just being visually striking and quite frankly terrifying, which would, kayfabe speaking, strike fear in the heart of any opponent he came across. Wyatt would use The Fiend as the darker, more sinister alter ego of the fun-loving Bray Wyatt, who was happy and smiley in the Firefly Funhouse. And it was a fantastic juxtaposition of good and evil, all in one character. His first match at SummerSlam was against the aforementioned Balor, and it was an all-time great debut match as The Fiend destroyed Balor and was immediately positioned as an absolute monster that was practically indestructible, and it got fans invested and actually excited at the product after a really poor year in general from a creative standpoint in 2019. A fantastic start to The Fiend, and it's a damn shame that WWE couldn't capitalise and understand just what The Fiend brought to the table, as his booking after was quite horrid to say the least, and none of it was a slight on Bray himself, rather the creative team that didn't know what to do with him. Nonetheless, a brilliant debut and one of the most unique gimmicks in recent memory. Number 2, his 2022 return. Wyatt was inexplicably released in July 2021, and it's fair to say fans were shocked. As mentioned before, Wyatt was not used well in his final years before his release, and although it was baffling, as Wyatt had so much to offer, you could see why the creative team and Vince McMahon just didn't have anything for him, as they didn't understand the character at all and understand how to use him in the right way. Once McMahon was relieved of his creative duties, among others, Triple H took the reins and so many things changed for the better. The game re-signed a few superstars and started utilising certain talent a lot better than the previous regime, something of which is still happening to this day. And one of those superstars was Bray Wyatt himself, who made his triumphant jaw-dropping return at the 2022 Extreme Rules event to a thunderous pop. WWE aired a number of White Rabbit campaign clips at live events and during commercial breaks on Raw and SmackDown leading up to Extreme Rules, hinting that it could be Wyatt, but at the same time a few other talents to try and keep a bit of a mystery to the whole thing. But most fans thought it was Wyatt and were salivating at his possible return. That translated to the live crowd as Wyatt got a huge reaction. As soon as the lights went out and everybody heard Wyatt's voice singing his signature, "He's got the whole world in his hands," the crowd became unglued. We saw a ransacked Firefly Funhouse and Wyatt emerged from a door in the arena in a blue light in one of the more historic returns in recent memory. And number 1, Bray Wyatt, WWE Champion. Wyatt had an excellent run between his debut in 2013 up until the time he won the big one in 2017. And although he lost most of his big matches and feuds, he remained over with the crowd, and the fans still held him in high regard due to his superior performances week in, week out. Wyatt continued to work hard and do the absolute best with everything that was thrown at him creatively. And the fans noticed that and kept behind him and kept pushing for him to succeed. So when that moment finally came at Elimination Chamber in 2017, it was one of the true feel-good moments in recent memory. Up there with moments like Yeselmania and Kofi Mania. A true feel-good happy moment where the fans saw the culmination of a career which saw the perennial professional reach the mountaintop after years of hard work and perseverance, which was exactly what it was like for Wyatt at the Elimination Chamber. The live crowd were also firmly behind Wyatt, and although he was a heel, he received a huge reaction when he hit AJ Styles with the Sister Abigail to finally win the most prestigious prize in the wrestling business. The image of Wyatt holding up the WWE Championship in near darkness, surrounded by thousands of fireflies, was a sight to behold. And although the resulting run with the championship was nowhere near what it should have been, as Wyatt dropped the title to Randy Orton a month later in very apathetic fashion at WrestleMania, the crowning of a truly deserving hard worker was an amazing moment, and in our opinion, the greatest moment in the career of Bray Wyatt. Well, there you have it. Those were the top 5 moments from the career of the late, great Bray Wyatt. What did you think of the list, and what is your favourite moment from his career? Don't forget to like and subscribe to One Stop Wrestling on YouTube, and go and check out our other videos. Until then, we will see you next time for another One Stop Wrestling podcast.